Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial in which we are going to look at a graphics creation task that came in the February-March 2024 exam for the Cambridge A-Level IT. Now the question reads, you are required to create a vector image of a cupcake. It must consist of three separate elements that closely match the following examples. So we have the case, the cake, and the topping. Save each image as a scalable vector graphic. As image name, underscore your center number, underscore candidate number. So for example, we have case underscore your center number underscore your candidate number and cake and topping. After which the image must be assembled to look like this. So we have an example of the cupcake here, fully assembled. Now we save the image as cupcake underscore your center number underscore candidate number. So with this little introduction, let's head into Adobe Illustrator to get this task done. Well, since we are not given any specific dimension, my latest suggestion is for you to have a width and a height of 1000 pixels and color in RGB and a raster effect of 300 ppi, which is high enough. And by the way, I'm using Adobe Illustrator 2022, so my interface might be a little different. So if you're done with that, let's click create. Now before we begin, kindly make sure you've made these changes to your setup. I would like you to go to view and ensure that smart guides is checked. In order to get our case shape right, I'd like us to import one of the images we've been given in our source files as a guide. So what you do is go to file and look for place. And this should lead you to our folder. If it doesn't lead you to your folder, just go to the Explorer and find out and locate your exam folder. And let's pick the lightest of the colors. Let's pick vanilla for now and say place. Now when you move your cursor around, you see the vanilla image following. So let's click somewhere up here and just draw across the area where we want our shape to be, like this, and release. Let's move it up a bit so we have a casing in the middle. And let's select our image and go to appearance. If you don't have the appearance icon showing, you can always go to window and select appearance from there. Now under appearance, you have this opacity showing here. Let's click on it once, and where you see the 100, draw the handle back to say 15, or I think 15 is cool. Go back into your layers panel, and this time let's lock it down. Now let's add a new layer by clicking on the create new layer icon, the one with the plus sign. So all our drawing is going to happen on this layer, that is layer 2. So we'll begin by picking the pen tool and try and trace the bottom half of the casing. So you pick the pen tool, ensure that there's no fill, and let's choose the color for the outline. Let's change the stroke size to 2. Hit Ctrl and the plus sign repeatedly so that you can zoom in on the outline. You can start on the edge like this. Click and hold the corner as you make a curve. If you are not sure about it, you can always hit Ctrl Z, come back again, click and hold, make a curve, bring the pen tool back to where you stopped, click once, Then let's go to the next corner. Click and hold and drag as you make your curve. Come back to where you started. Go to the next edge. Click and hold and make a curve. When you're okay with it, press V or escape. So we have the bottom half of our casing. Now we need to add this zigzag part, but we'll do that later. So what we are going to do is draw another line on top, still with the pen tool. Click here once, come to the other end. When you see intersect, you can hold shift whilst you're doing that so that you have a straight line, and press escape to release, so you have another line here. Now what we can do is go into your layers panel and let's hide our tracing for now. And then we go back to where the pen tool is, click and hold, and let's look for the add anchor point tool. Trace it along the path of your line that you just drawn, and where you see intersect, that is the middle of the line. So click and add an anchor point there. So that's an anchor point. Now go back to our menu and let's look for the direct selection tool, which is up here. And up in the corner here, we are going to convert the point we just added into a curve. So click on it once, and then you can observe the handles here. And then bring your direct selection tool to where it says anchor, and then click and drag downwards, just like this. Not too much. Then you can see the handles exposed on the left and right. Hold down shift whilst you click on one handle and drag to your right, and hold on another one as you drag to your left. Now head up into effect at the top, and let's come down to distort and transform. Under distort and transform, select zigzag. Now in the zigzag menu, we are going to do some try and error a little bit. So let's try and reduce the size. Make sure preview is selected, reduce the size, and have a view of how it looks like. And then let's increase the number of ridges. I think 15 is okay at 5 pixels, and then let's change it to smooth. So we have something like this. Pick your selection tool. If you're okay with it, click on OK. Go back to your main selection tool, click and drag it down to where your casing is. So you should have something like this. So we are going to do duplicate of all these that we have here, and we are going to duplicate the zigzag we just added. So I'm going to hold down Alt and click and drag one to the top. Now I'm going to right click on what I just did and select transform, and then we're going to do a reflect. We are going to do a horizontal reflection of it, so I select horizontal and then I click OK. I'm going to press Ctrl and the minus sign once or twice so that we have something like this, and select the casing, hold down Alt as I make another duplication of it. I'll bring the duplicate we did at the top and come and join it to that one like this, and this is the duplication we have for the bottom. Now I'm going to scroll my artboard to my right a bit and select all this that we've done, the first casing, and drag it to my right like this so we can see its transparency like this. Now let's zoom in on that. Hold down Control and plus, just like this. So we have the line and then we have the casing. We're going to join the line and the casing. So to do that, you select the zigzag, go to Object and say Expand Appearance. After expanding appearance, select any of the corners like this, right click and say Join. Do the same thing for the other side, right click, Join. So now we have one casing. And with what we have done, now we can fill what this. So I'm going to go into the where the color palette is and where the fill is. The fill right now is on none. So I can even do it at the top here. Go to fill and select white. And for this one, the outline, I want the outline to be dark gray. So if I bring it back, this is the results we are going to have. And even with the outline, I want it to be reduced. So I'm going to change it from the 2-point outline to something like 0.5, very tiny outline like this. Now still with the outline here, still with our shape here, I'm going to pick the pen tool and draw the lines for the casing. So pick the pen tool, make sure it has no fill. First, to avoid this mistake, let's do Ctrl Z and make sure our shape is not selected. Nothing should be selected. Pick the pen tool once again, make sure there's no fill, and let's maintain the color we added for the stroke and the stroke size at still 0.5. So with that, I click and join the ridge and the bottom of the case at any point. So if I do one, I press escape. So let me zoom in so we can see what is going on, like this. So I click on the ridge, and whenever it says path, I click, and I come down here when it says path, I click, and then to release I press escape. I do the same thing when it says anchor, click, then it says path down here, you click, and then you release using the escape. So I'm going to do that repeatedly till we get to the end. So when we are done, we go back to our move tool or select tool, select the entire artwork, right click, and then we say group. So now we have one shape here, done. Now I'm going to press Ctrl and 0 and bring back our main casing back to the center of the stage, and try and join the other one with it like this. And let's zoom in on it, and then we need to ensure that the yellow is in front of the black. So I'm going to select this, right click, arrange, and then say send to back. So we still have our yellow casing on the outside, and I think we need to send this also to the back. So say arrange, send to back. So zoom out, Ctrl 0. So we have our casing done. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save our case as a required SVG. So go to save, select save as, make sure you are saving into your exams folder, and case underscore your center number, underscore your candidate number, SVG, and you save. Now to create our cake, we are just going to create a new file, the same dimensions. And what we are going to do is move the base of the casing, because that's all we need. Move it to our new artboard like this. This time around, our outline is going to be red color. So let's select it first, and then select red from here, and pick the pen tool. Once again, we are drawing a line, so hold down shift as you draw a line across. Now let's go to where the pen tool is selected. Click and hold till you see add anchor point tool. Once again, come to the part, and where we see intersect, we click once. Pick a direct selection tool and go to where we convert to curve. Click on the middle and drag it upwards. Now if the handles are too small, what you can do is go to edit, preferences, and then go to selection and anchor display. And this is where we set the anchor size, so we can increase the size to say like this. Click OK. So we have bigger handles. You can hold down your shift whilst you drag one to your right and drag the other to the left. You can also increase the height of the cake a bit like this, and then click on the actual selection tool and then bring it down to meet the base. We're going to draw another line which we are going to curve as well. So once again, let's pick the pen tool. Start from this point, click, hold down shift. So go to the next point and click, and then click away or press escape. This time around we need light blue, something like this, as it appears on the question paper. And we're going to change the size to something bigger, say 20. Let's make it 30. Let's type in 30 and go to where it says stroke and change the cap to rounded. And once again, we're going to add an anchor point to curve it in a bit. So pick your add anchor point tool, look for the middle, convert to curve, pick your direct selection tool, drag it down a bit, extend the handles to the right and the left, pick the move tool, and then let's move it into our cake like this. Now we can zoom in and resize the edges. Do the same for this side. Move it up with your arrow keys, and I think this is okay. Let's make a quick reference to what we have on the question paper. Yeah, I think we are almost there. Pardon me if what we are getting is not exactly as on the question paper, because the question paper is not clear enough, but I hope you get the concept of what we are trying to do. So for the cake, we can go ahead and save. I think I want to make the outline a bit thicker, so I'm going to change it from 2 to 3. Do the same thing for the top, 2 to 3. Select all and group. Once again, I'm going to save this as an SVG, so go to File, Save As, select SVG, and this time type in the name, so it's going to be cake underscore your center number underscore your candidate number. So for the topping, we will create another file, another new file, same dimensions. This time we go to our case where we created a case, and then go to the layers panel and enable the view of the cupcake we brought in and send it to our new artboard. There it is. And this time around, we're going to increase the opacity a little bit. From 14, let's raise it up to say 30 or 40. And once again, in the layers panel, we ensure that it is locked and we create another layer. So we're going to create all these shapes using the pen tool, after which we will come out with the actual colors as required from the question paper. I'm first going to pick the pen tool and ensure that there's a stroke. Let's ensure that there's a stroke for now. So I'm first going to pick the pen tool and let's switch off the stroke. And you can pick any color. So I'm going to begin with yellow, and this is the shape I want to take out. This shape, this one right here. But before then, there's another shape in front of it, so I'm going to deal with that first. Let me color that blue, pick the pen tool and just draw this shape like this. Come back to where it started, and then we go this way. So we have this first shape, and then now let's change the color to yellow. Let's click away, just click away and pick the pen tool again, change the color to yellow. Let's draw out this bigger shape like this. If you're not sure, you can always press Ctrl Z to bring it back. Select the shape, arrange and send to back. So we can zoom in and make necessary corrections with the direct selection tool by moving it into place, rounding some of the corners like this. You can select the corner and reposition it. I think this one, yeah, touches this. Okay, so I'm going to pick the pen tool once again, click away, make sure nothing is selected. Pick a different color, and I'm going to draw What is needed is this portion of the shape like this. So I can go inward and come back to the top. What I'm going to do is select this shape, right click, arrange and send to back. So it goes behind this one. And I'm going to do the same for this one. Pick a different color. Pick my pen tool. Start drawing from here. And come and end up here. This is too dark. Let me change the color a bit to something bright like this. Pick the move tool, right click, arrange and send to back. Now I'm going to do the same for this one. All that is needed is this portion. So the rest can go to the back of the topping. Once again, change the color. Pick my pen tool, start from somewhere here. Go this way. And then we come inward like this. And then come and join this way. Pick the move tool, right click, send to back. I think we are left with this one. So that one as well. Change the color. Orange will do. Draw this way. And then it comes to meet this one. That one should also be sent to the back like this. So we end up having this as our topping. Let's make a quick reference to the question paper. Okay, so we have this one meeting up here, and I think this should be at the top of this one. So let's zoom in, pick the direct selection tool. Let's select the yellow one, pick the corner and send it to the top like this, on top of this one. And it means this one has to come back inward like this. So Control 0, and now we need to add the gradient. So the gradient looks like mauve and white. So this is a linear gradient, this is a radial gradient, and the rest is white. So I'm going to pick my rectangle tool, draw a rectangle here. With the rectangle still selected, I go to my gradient tool on the right, click on the gradient once, then it changes to the black and white gradient, but what we want is the violet one. So I'm going to look for violet, something like this, and white. So that will be my palette on the side. Select the yellow, pick the eyedropper tool and click on this, and then I'll pick my gradient tool and ensure that it is linear with the white at the bottom, and make sure the rotation is also in place. Now select this one as well. I think this one also has to be of the gradient, so I'm going to click on the gradients once, go to my gradient tool on the right and select radial. Aside that, I think all the rest should be white, so I'll select the other shapes and change them to white. This is also white. And this blue one here should also be white. So we have our topping, and what we will need to do is give it an outline on the outer portion. So but before we do that, let's select everything and group. So now we have, this is our topping. We can now decide to hide the cupcake and have only our topping like this. And before we save our topping, we can decide to brighten the move colors a bit. So I'm going to ungroup once again, select the ones with the move, go to the gradient panel and double click on the handle that is having the move, and then change it to something brighter like this. And do the same for this one. I think this looks better, so select everything, group once again, and then let's move it out of our white background to the side so that we can clearly see what we've created. Yeah, so this is the topping. I'm going to zoom in a bit on it, and we are going to create an outline for the entire thing. So make sure it's grouped. Good. And now we pick your pen tool, make sure it has no fill, and let's make sure we pick this color or something very similar to it. So can double click and yeah, pick something like this and change the size to say 2 points, and just let's make sure we are not drawing on this. So create a new layer so that it doesn't interfere with anything here, and let's draw an outline for the topping. I need to be very conversant with the pen tool, and you need to be saving your work every now and then when you are using the pen tool. And another advice is, when it comes to graphics creation, especially using Illustrator, you should have a mouse or an ergonomic mouse to work with. So when you're done, you just go back to where you started from and select everything and group once again. Press Ctrl 0, bring it back inside like this. I think the stroke is a bit too obvious, so I'm going to ungroup again and select just the stroke and reduce the stroke to say 1. I think that is okay. Select everything, group again. Now let's hide or delete the palette. Go to File and Save As. What should be the name? topping. So name should be topping. So make sure it's an SVG topping underscore your center number underscore your candidate number, and then you save. So we are good to go. So now we can combine all three to make a cupcake. So back we have our case here. Yeah, this is our case. Let me take out the embedded image. So this is the case, and then we have the cake itself, and then we have the topping. So we're going to put all three together. First, I'm going to select the entire cake, make sure it's grouped. Yes, this is grouped, so I'll just pick it up, send it to where the casing is, and drop, and make sure it goes behind the casing. So go to arrange, send to back, and then for the casing I'm not going to need this zigzag line anymore, so this can go away, and I'll delete and go back to where the topping is, select the entire thing, go back to where our case is, and drop. And we're going to place that on top of our casing and the cake. So now with what we've done, we can now go ahead and save. So I'll go to file, save as, I think it's going to be SVG as well. So SVG this time, cupcake underscore your center number underscore your candidate number, and then we save. Okay, so with that we've come to the end of the first part of this graphics creation question that we are supposed to solve. In the next part we will do the animation part. If you enjoyed this video, kindly give it a like and a subscribe, and you can share as well. Leave your questions and suggestions in the comment section, and I'll do my best to respond to them. So till we meet in the next video, it's bye.